Hey everyone, this is Callie with Callie's Trekking Adventures, and I hope everyone's doing absolutely fantabulous. So this is just a follow-up video to the video that I just released, and this video is pertaining to the two different approaches that Prime takes to their PSD training. It's about the advantages and the disadvantages and the different training approaches that they take. And now I have mentioned some of these things in my previous videos, but now that I'm out here and I'm in my third day of my TNT training, I've thought about this, and I've thought that it would be a good idea to just give you guys a give you a video with my perspective now that I've actually experienced it, and my thoughts on the whole process. So that's what my purpose is. All right, so there's two different ways that you can go through PSD training at Prime. And like I said, I have mentioned this a brief little bit in some of my other videos, at least one of them I know. The first way is that you do pad training. You go to, and I only did 1 day of pad training, and then I was out on the road. But I did spend a week at the pad, and I did get an opportunity to, witness what other people went through and witness the process. And of course, I spent 5 days there going through the onboarding experience, orientation, and all of that good stuff. So anyway, so the first way that you can do it is you can do the pad training, which is what I think a lot of people do because there is a little bit of a shortage of trainers. And that in the pad training, you're going to it's Monday through Friday. There are no days off, and you catch a shuttle at the hotel at about 6:30 in the morning, at least in Salt Lake. Of course, I'm coming from the Salt Lake perspective, Salt Lake City, but the shuttle driver comes and picks you up, and you're ideally supposed to be there by 7 and out on the pad and ready to go. And you spend your day going over the pre-trips. You have to have the pre-trip down, from what I understand, before you can even start to get inside the truck and actually start backing or anything like that. And then once you get the pre-trips down, then they get you inside of the truck and you start backing. You learn the different procedures or maneuvers that they have: the offset, the straight back, which of course is just a straight back, the parallel park, and the alley dock. And they give you points, and you kind of are able to kind of master that. And then once you get that done, then they send you out and you do a little bit of city driving. And you're going home or back to the hotel every night. You're there basically the hours that I know they would go to lunch between about 10:30 and 11. It was usually about 11, and be back on the pad at about an hour and a half lunch. And then they would take off and head back. The shuttle driver would take them back to the hotel at about 3 o'clock. So you're going back to the hotel every night, and you're having time to recoup and study. And I think that in a way that can be a whole lot easier. It totally prepares you to be able to do what you're there to do, which really is to get your CDL. And then the other way is the way that I did it, and in that way is OTR, over the road PSD training, where you actually go out and you go over the road with a trainer. My particular trainer, we traveled from coast to coast. We started off in Utah, and I had never even been inside of a truck before, and I jumped right in the driver's seat. We drove around about maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then we headed out on the road, and we headed down to Cedar City, Utah. We picked up a load of steel. He was a flatbed driver, where actually I'm driving a reefer. And then we headed to California, and we spent some time going up and down the coast of California. We went to Riverside, Sacramento, LA, San Francisco, Modesto area. We went, grabbed a load from over there. We took a few loads around over there. Then we came back over. We went over to Denver, picked up another load, and then we headed down to Florida. And we spent a couple of days on the coast of Florida, dropping off those loads. And then we headed back, picked up a load in Alabama, and then came back and came through Denver, dropped off in Denver, and then came back to Salt Lake and dropped off there. So I drove a total of close to 8,000 miles. My trainer did about 6 to 8 hours of all that driving. And they were long days. They I would, after the days of driving, and I usually about every day at least, it was 8 to 10 hours of driving, and then at least 12 to 14 hour days, most every day as well. And then after those long days, I would go over the pre-trip, and there was one opportunity, I did a teeny bit of backing, but not very much. There was one opportunity where I did get to practice a parallel park and practice a offset park. And so I came back on a Tuesday, and I took my exam on Friday. And as you know, many of you know that have watched my previous videos, I failed my first attempt at my pre-trip, and I was absolutely devastated by that. And then I did also fail my backup test as well. And so on the third try, I was able to pass. And I think, when all said and done, I think that a lot of people do trifecta when they're able to do the pad, to be able to train on the pad, because that's where all of their focus is, that's where their main focus is. And so I think that they have an advantage when it comes to that in many ways. But at the same time, I do have to say that I'm also know that I have a huge advantage, because now that all said and done, now that I've got my CDL and I am out here with my TNT, my amazing TNT trainer, I feel like I'm more prepared to be a team driver, because when you go into TNT phase, you pretty much are a team now. And I'm sure it depends on the person's how far they are with with the PSD training that they received, how much time that the trainer does feel like they have to spend with you before they feel comfortable to be able to go in the back and get some sleep so they can drive, because usually you're driving shifts. So you're either driving nights and they're driving days, or they're driving days and you're driving nights. And with my case, I'm so lucky. My trainer is he does nights, and so I get to do the days because he's amazing like that. And so because as hard as it was for me to get my CDL and that whole process, I was absolutely exhausted when I got back to the terminal, and I did not feel, like I said, that I was prepared. I didn't feel like I got the time that I needed to be prepared, and I was apprehensive, and I personally, or for me, it was a challenge. But I do have to say that I'm really grateful that I got my my CDL the way that I did, because now I'm much more set up to be able to be not as steep of a learning curve as I would be on if I had stayed on the pad and did my training that way. And so I think that it can work either way for people. My classmate, Sharifa, I have not given him the props that I should have, or the mentions that I should have, and thanked him as much as I should have. I don't know that he'll ever see this video, but if he ever does, he's absolutely amazing, and he supported me so much through that whole process of me failing and feeling like a big old loser, and the things that I was going through with my trainer. He really supported me so much. And Sharifa, him and I both went out on the road. We both did one day of the pad training, and we both went out on the road. And he had an amazing trainer, and he got back on a Sunday, and then he had the whole next week to prepare for his exam, and he did trifecta. He kicked butt, and he's a little rock star, and I'm so proud of him. And so it definitely works for a lot of people, I'm sure, to be able to go out there and do the OTR PSD training and to trifecta. But I don't know that it works for everybody. But like I did say, I do know that there are advantages and disadvantages, and I think it depends on the individual person. And I myself am grateful for what I did go through. I am grateful although I did have a very, very challenging time with my trainer, and we definitely butted heads, I do feel grateful to him for giving me what I needed, for getting me through that process, for helping me to become a better backer. And I hopefully, if he goes on to train more people, I was only his third trainee or student, and I know that it must be a whole lot different to train a woman as opposed to a man. And who knows, maybe he'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm not training any more women after that one. But I don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. But either way, I'm sure that he is hopefully going to blossom and grow as a trainer, and that if he does choose to continue to do this, that he does it for the right reasons. And like I said in my previous video, the difference between my current trainer now, Mr. Willie, and my previous trainer, my PSD trainer, is night and day. You can absolutely tell that Mr. Willie is doing this for the right reasons. He wants to see you succeed. Sorry, the mosquitoes are coming out. He wants to see you succeed. He is supportive. He is so generous and kind and calm and patient, and it's obvious that he wants to give you the best that he can give you, and he doesn't belittle you or call you names or make you feel like you're second guessing yourself or second guessing your career choice or anything like that. And so I think that also has a lot to do, the trainer. That's going to be a make or breaker for all of us as well. And so, with that being said, I guess that's all that I really wanted to say about that, and I am going to go on ahead and cut this video and let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate the Prime family that I have been welcomed into. I'm so happy to be at Prime, and anyone who, like I said before, who chooses to who wants to get their CDL and wants to start with a great company, Prime is the way to go, at least in my opinion. And so far, I couldn't be happier. I'm so glad that I made this decision. I'm happy that I'm able to proceed forward, and that I've got such an amazing person to teach me the ropes going forward. All right, everybody, have a great night and take care. Thank you so much. All right, guys, laters. Peace out. Bye.